say like test or yeah.
I had eggs for breakfast. Test. Testing.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 1, 2. 309. Got it? Okay. Yours is on? Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Matt Spohr. I'm president of Washtenaw Bird and Nature Alliance. And we have a nice crowd. We got some hugs happening out in the crowd. I love that. That's nice to see. Old friends getting together. That's fantastic. Oh, I got to take my phone out because I want to share some things with you guys, and I don't have a memory, and so I need to look. So I'm going to introduce Ray Stocking in a moment, but I'll let him speak for himself and leave as much time as I can for the program. I did want to mention just a couple of things before I do that. One, thank you for coming, and those of you that are members of WBNA, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. That's what keeps us going, and if you're not a member, that's okay too. You don't have to be a member to come to our stuff, but if you can swing it, that's great. Entirely up to you. We don't ask for the secret code at the door, so keep coming. Speaking of coming to things, we have a lot. James Weir, our field trip chair, and Kate have been just busy getting events, programs together, and just put a whole slew of them up. As you might expect, we have spring migration coming. I was just down in North Carolina, and yes, they're coming. I saw some of them down there, so they're heading this way. We have a number of things coming up. We have our Thursday walks at the Arb that start on the 26th, Thursday the 26th, and those will run through the end of May. And you should see Juliet there most days, yeah? So those are always fun. We have our One Road Challenge is on Saturday the 28th. This is a fun event where you can get a few people out and go spend the morning seeing as many birds as you can and following the rules of the challenge. And then we get together at the end and do a little count and have some fun and get something to eat. So that's fun. And we got to beat those guys from Oakland County. We can't let them come in here and take our pride. So come on out for that if you're interested. We have a bird and nature walk at the Ypsi Library on the 22nd. And then we've got our ecological restoration workday at Searles Preserve on Sunday the 29th, where we'll be removing invasive shrubs and improving that ecosystem out there to make, frankly, just to make food for the birds, right? And that's all we're doing, get the plants in there. So come on out, we can't do that without volunteers. It's just cutting shrubs. It actually sounds terrible, but it's a ton of fun. First time I went to one of these things, I thought, oh God, that doesn't sound like much fun. I don't know why I went, but I went, and now I changed careers and I'm doing this for a living. So you never know. Come out, even if it doesn't sound fun. It's, you're doing good. And then April rolls around and we got our Monday evening walks that James is doing, again, that were super popular. We've got our Beginning Birder series with Gia that starts on Friday. Oh, you're right there, hi. That begins some Friday.
Yeah,
Mid-April. 17th, and those are fun. So if you're kind of newer and want to, so come on out to that. And then I think there's some more weekend stuff that we're going to get up pretty soon as well. I know we're looking for some volunteers to lead some trips there. So check it out. Lots going on. Come on out. We'd love to have you. New, old, experienced, doesn't matter. We'd love to have you. So with that said, I'm going to get Ray up here. I was so happy to see that Kate had gotten Ray to come up here for a couple of reasons. One, Ray's one of the people that I've known, met early on when I got to Ann Arbor, and has always been very nice and kind to me, and is a former president of Washtenaw Bird and Nature Alliance. We have Juliet here. We have Ray. I think, no, the vice president, we can't be in the room together. These guys can be in the room together. Something's going on. We got 3 presidents here. He's also a board member at Michigan Audubon, and just got involved with the Kirtland's Warbler Association, and I'll let him talk about that a little bit, because I guess he just has too much time on his hands. He's going to save all the birds. Peregrine Falcon presentation I'm so excited about. This is kind of one of the things that got me going. I lived in Grand Forks, North Dakota, and we had a big tower, and there was a peregrine there, and there's a guy that banded him, and he'd bring him down, and I'd bring my kids, and we get to see him up close, and it was super cool. And I think that's kind of one of the things that got me going and got me interested in birds back in the day. So super happy to have you, Ray. Come on up and tell us all about it.
Yes, sir. I'm not used to these little microphone thingies there. And I like to move around, so I'm not going to use the podium. Hello, everyone. Hi, folks. I guess we're streaming live. Yeah, my name's Ray Stocking. I've been with Washtenaw Audubon certainly more than 20 years, because I'm going to talk about an event that happened here in Washtenaw back then. And it's because of Washtenaw Audubon that I was able to grow my knowledge year over year. It's simply because of the people and the free bird walks and the welcomingness of the entire organization. I came in here as a kid that just wanted to know more and find out where all these birds were, because I thought birding only took place in May. And I found out it's a 365-day-a-year job to go bird watching. So thank you, Washtenaw Audubon. And for those of you who need another plug about membership, I can't say enough good things about joining this organization. I didn't name it incorrectly, did I? I did. I'm so sorry. I just realized that. Washtenaw Bird Nature Alliance, which is a good thing I'm going to bring up because of the emails I'm going to share with you about what took place back then, and the correspondence, just everything else about there. Folks, we were named Washtenaw Audubon Society for more than 50 years, and we rightfully changed the name. I'm very proud of that. But I will be referencing this organization as Washtenaw Audubon because of the historical perspective and where we were and other communications. I want to make sure everyone understands that. And Juliet, I know. Okay, let's talk about peregrine falcons in Ann Arbor. We'll just kind of get that. Historically, they've never nested here before, ever. And the reason for that simply is we don't have cliffs, we don't have high places that they can perch up on top of and build a nest. We're a city, we're an urban area. Peregrines did not traditionally nest on these buildings, even when we started our first high-rise buildings, New York City building, Empire State Building, whatnot. However, they were nesting in northern Michigan where there was plenty of opportunities and cliffs, and if you can think of the UP along the Lake Superior shoreline, unbelievable opportunities to nest there. But the birds stopped coming. They stopped coming to Michigan, and they stopped coming because they were quickly disappearing. They were disappearing because of DDT, a chemical that I'm going to get into. I'll explain to you how and why DDT was such a bad thing. When we banned it, and once we got conservation efforts in to reintroduce the birds to the east coast of the United States, we started doing it in big cities. And where else can you find a nice perch there but then a man-made falcon nest box? Detroit was one of those locations, and eventually we were seeing peregrine falcons more often. I'm going to talk about when they eventually came to Ann Arbor. Now, the title of this program is celebrating 20 years of the peregrine falcon, because at that time I was president of Washtenaw Audubon, and I was also very active in, today we have Discord. Everyone communicates on Discord, and that's where it is. Back 20 years ago, we were using birders@umich.edu, and everything was by email. And I learned so much about birding in Washtenaw County and the state of Michigan just by following the birders@umich website or emails. And I don't remember anything about a peregrine falcon being sighted anytime before March of 2006. And doing my research here in this library, in the Ann Arbor News Archives, I say, show me everything from 2000 up on peregrine falcon in Ann Arbor, and I get this Ann Arbor News article, January 24th, 2005. Huh. So apparently there were two birds making a racket, really drawing attention. But I don't know how long it was because it never made birders at umich.edu, as I come to call it. But this is little snippets I stole from the article. It was seen. Our own Nancy French was quoted in this paper. And I love what it is she says. You know, hey, it would be very rare for a peregrine falcon to be here. They don't nest around here. But, you know, there have been some reintroduction projects, specifically in Detroit, and that was, in fact, taking place. And we already had some successes in Detroit. So just to get, in case there's anyone out there who remembers this event, A, I want to talk to you about that. B, just know that I'm aware of that. But I'm sticking to my title, celebrating 20 years of Peregrine Falcon. You see in red, Wednesday, March 8th, that would be 20 years and 10 days ago. This email came across on Birders email, on Birders at UMich. Our dear friend Jaco, who I don't know, he's online maybe, or he'll watch this later. He found this. I shared this email with him, and he can't believe that I actually saved it. I save everything. Yeah, during lunchtime, he was strolling across campus. He heard the racket up there on the bell tower. He realized it was a peregrine falcon, and once that falcon landed on the bell tower, another larger falcon took off. There were two, and they were making a lot of noise, and they showed lots of behavior, courtship type behavior. He just kind of posted it there, not a bad find for just a lunch break, right? Now, this is what I expected would have happened back in 2005. Within minutes, there were people jumping in their car, getting downtown, or running out of their offices on campus and getting over to the bell tower to get a look. And that's what happened, confirmed by multiple birders immediately. Photographs, this photo you're looking at right now is of that day. Two falcons on the Burton Memorial Tower. I'm very excited. Again, I was president of Washtenaw Audubon at that time. We, as a board, started talking just through our own email, communicating, this is really great. Do we need to get involved? What's going on? We found out courtship behavior is going on. And then another board member who worked for the university had inside knowledge that they were going to do major renovation work on the tower later that spring. And now we're like, no, you can't. We have peregrine falcons who are taken to the tower and would probably, if successful, raise first time ever in Ann Arbor, have peregrine falcons nesting and fledging from Burton Tower. We were so concerned about that immediately. So as a board, we decided we were going to take this to the university right away. You know, who should we contact? Buildings department. That probably would be it. And then we just, no, we're going to take this right to the top. We're going all the way. So I wrote this email less than 24 hours after the initial sighting, and I sent it to President Mary Sue Coleman. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I said, I want to personally thank you, because she had been made aware of it 2 hours before I wrote this, that we have these peregrine falcons on the bell tower. And so I just wanted to thank her because she apparently did listen, acknowledged that, they're there, but I really had a request. It says, we would love, how amazing would this be for the university if we had peregrine falcons nesting up on top of that tower? End result is, what could stop them? What would stop them? Well, that would be if they start building scaffolding, and the peregrine falcons are not going to tolerate human intervention. They won't. If you get up there on the top of the tower, they will fly away. I thanked her again and just kind of said, how wonderful this would be to have these rare birds part of the university community, considering, seriously, they were almost extinct just 40 years ago. So I wrote that within 24 hours. I got an email back from Mary Sue within 24 hours. We are very excited about the impending nesting, and we will do all we can to make this pair feel comfortable. How cool is that? So, you know, this is great. This is what we wanted, and we took it to the top. I think that was the right decision. The university puts out an immediate press release. They're taking no chances of disturbing the Peregrine Falcons, and they are shutting down the Burton Memorial Tower bells. I get a call from the assistant dean of the music school, and he tells me we have shut the bells off. The clock, no hourly chime. It says, how are the students going to get into class if you turn that clock off, the bells off? And no one is allowed to go up into the tower at all. What else can we do for you, Mr. Stocking? Ann Arbor News gets a hold of it. You know, it's quoted in there. We're doing inquiries with the Audubon Society. That would be me. We're pleased to be able to cooperate here. We have turned the bells off. I was like, they were just fine there with the bells going on. We didn't ask you to turn the bells off, but thank you. You can turn it back on. Really, you can turn it back on. And he points out in that article that the local Audubon Society wrote to the president, and the president has asked us to respond, and they're doing that. So I'm very grateful. Don't get me wrong. I love the response at the university, how they just embrace this. It says they saw it as exciting as I was, but the overreaction. Do you remember in the day when the internet just started with the news, and they had those things at the bottom as you can comment, and then you would be able to read all the comments and all the trolls? Seriously, trolls existed 20 years ago on the internet. And the image of the university and this local Audubon chapter shutting all this down for birds, for 2 birds. And they were definitely having a riot with us, and you know, bad-mouthing us and whatnot. So it was a little embarrassing, and you know, me, seriously, folks, I didn't tell them to turn the bell towers. I did not do that. I did not say that. So that's the opening and the initial excitement of the first 48 hours of the Peregrine Falcons and their return to Ann Arbor. So let's get into a little bit more here. I want to talk about the facts about the Peregrine Falcon. Don't you love this screen? I'm sorry, this is the first time I'm seeing this. This is awesome. Who has seen a Peregrine Falcon? I'm looking for, I should have, okay, so a couple of you have not. I'm just give you a couple details there. It is a crow-sized bird. It doesn't fly like a crow. But what's amazing is if it's crow-sized, we all know what a yardstick looks like, right? 3 feet. Okay, that's the minimum length of their wingspan, 36 inches, and up and another 8 inches. So somewhere between 36 and 44 inches is their wingspan. That's huge. So adults, you'll see graybacks, traditionally with heavily streaked breasts. With the barred breast, and the young ones, those first-year peregrines, more brown and the heavily streaked breast in there. They have a mustache. I remember that day when I ran over to the bell tower and I finally got my binoculars on. The one thing I remember when I got my binocular on the peregrine flying into up to the bell tower was that mustache that they have. Very unique and unmistakable over there. Like other hawks and other raptors, the female Peregrine Falcon is larger than the male. Interesting, if you look at the weights here, 22 ounces. And add 50% more and you got a female. She's 54% more weight than the male. It's a big bird, there's no doubt about it. They're all over the world. They're in 6 to 7 continents. The only continent they're not in, Antarctica. I laugh at this first bullet here. Their diving speeds, clocked over 240 miles an hour when diving. Asterisk. Why the asterisk? Because if you go out and read every book or try to search on the internet or even use AI, you're going to get, it's the world's fastest animal clocked at 180 miles an hour, clocked at 225 miles an hour, 205. You know, there's so many differences, but there is one video documented recording of a bird. They had a camera on the bird, and they had other sensors on there, and it came in close to 245 miles an hour in a stoop dive there. We talked about where they nest historically on cliff faces. In Michigan, you know, the bluffs and the Pictured Rock area, that is ideal conditions for them. They're just like everything. They're part of that ecosystem, the circle of life. They control prey populations, but they're also like the canary in the coal mine. They are indicators of public health, environmental health, and we found that out. I found this video. I didn't plan on doing a video, but when it came to trying to describe how the Peregrine Falcon hunts, there was nobody better than Mr. Attenberg on a video here from Smithsonian.
To a peregrine's success. It also has acute vision that enables it to spot prey over a mile away. And for the peregrines that hunt in Rome, these birds are prime targets. Starlings. They too are fast flyers, and their small size makes them even more maneuverable. So, to catch a starling, a peregrine must be even faster, and in order to gain speed and surprise, it attacks from above. First, it climbs. When it sees a group of its potential prey, it turns, dives, and accelerates by beating its wings. The starlings are still unaware of the danger hurtling towards them. Finally, the peregrine draws its wings back. This is called the stoop, a superb streamlined shape that slices through the air. Now it can reach speeds of over 200 miles an hour.
200.
As it nears its target, it opens its wings to slow its descent and makes its final lunge.
Good mixture of AI in there, but I thought it served its point very well. Let's talk about DDT. I'm going to give a prize out. I didn't mention that early on. I have a prize for anybody who wants to pronounce what DDT stands for. Anyone? Your prize is my internal gratefulness, because I seriously didn't think anyone was going to do that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. What the heck is that? It was part of a research project in the late 1800s, doctoral work. That's so this Dr. Othmar Zeidler, he synthesized the DDT just through a chemistry experiment. He nor his advisor even recognized the value of what it potentially could do. It was just a chemistry experiment. Apparently he passed. It wasn't until just before the Second World War that it was discovered that this has a powerful ability to kill insects and eliminate them from farming and many other reasons. It was eventually introduced where it was used so widely, so quickly on all the crops. The results were just bumper crops of vegetables, fruits that we'd never had before. And this was consistent for another 30 plus years in there. Usages, I mentioned agricultural already. It was obvious, but it controlled diseases carrying insects. I remember as a kid just watching them spray trees in our neighborhood. Interesting, and that was just to control bugs in the trees. It really did take place, it really did escalate after the war. And then, household use also, you have flies. It was essentially a wonder chemical. People did not want these bugs, these insects in their crops, in their houses, and it was absolutely doing what it was intended to do. The problem is the plants, the rain would hit the plants, the chemicals of the DDT would come down, go into the soil. That soil released it into streams and creeks. The DDT continued on down into rivers, ponds, lakes. That's why the bald eagle and the osprey almost became extinct too. Peregrine falcon was eating birds that were eating food from the grounds. The bald eagle and osprey were eating the fish. The problem is that the effect was that it thinned the eggshells. And when the birds went to incubate, they crushed the eggs. They were too thin. Essentially, entire nests failed all throughout the United States. In the East Coast, they failed so completely that the bird disappeared from the East Coast altogether. In 1964, 0 nesting peregrine falcons. The last known nest that where we had 2 birds actually trying to nest there, but it failed still, was in 1957. So you can imagine just complete, utter destruction, loss of a bird on its way to extinction. In 1970, the peregrine falcon was added to the endangered species list. This was exactly what had to be done in order to save this bird. It gave the critical protections that you would need, no hunting of the bird. You really shouldn't be. I believe the Migratory Species Act says you can't attack a nest, but this became even more of a federal crime to disturb their nest as well. Fortunately, DDT was eventually banned just 2 years later, banned for agriculture, excuse me, folks. And, the peregrine falcon finally had a chance. The problem is DDT still existed in the ecosystem. It was still in the waters. It was still in the ground. It was going to take a lot of time before we can just rid that, if ever, out of the food chain. Recovery programs were put in place, and what the goal is to bring them back to the cities, allow them to nest on buildings in there. They adapted very well. The skyscrapers, the bridges, whatnot, wherever they placed these, the peregrines acted just like it was their natural habitat. They had success in a few states. It came to Michigan. And in Detroit, where they first started at, It took about 5 years. I think it was 87 when they started. In 93 was when they had their first official successful nest on the Book Tower. If you know Detroit downtown, the Book Tower, classic building in there. By the end of the century, year 2000, we had 10 successful nesting peregrines in the state of Michigan. The rebound was coming. This is built as a watershed moment for the Endangered Species Act, much like those of you who know about the Kirtland Warbler. That bird almost became extinct. There were only 200 species left in the world. They nest in Michigan exclusively. 99% of them do. And the Endangered Species Act allowed us to intervene and help protect and bring that bird back. Same thing here with the Peregrine Falcon. It gave them a chance. Eventually, the numbers rose, and we had such enormous success. Again, without the DDT in the system, we were able to have these birds removed from the endangered list. It took 3 decades, but we were able to do that. So, yay for conservation, yay for Endangered Species Act. It does work. The problem when these things work is you can't take your foot off the pedal. You have to stay, and you got to make sure that things like this don't happen again. And the other thing is these Peregrine Falcons, who have now adapted to the urban settings, they actually don't have hammers and nails and wood. They don't build their own nests. So we kind of created this love affair with tall buildings. We do need to have some intervention in there and give them suitable places to grow, especially as the population grows. All right, let's get back to Ann Arbor. I hate to put the word failure, but it is. We had a problem with the Burton Memorial Tower. It's the best building in Ann Arbor if you're a Peregrine Falcon. It's the tallest building. It's got the best view, 360, unobstructed view, everything a Peregrine Falcon would want. The problem with it is there's really no good suitable place to put drop an egg and incubate for a month and expect them to hatch, because the only place you can put a nest is very close to the gutter system. And as you know, here in Michigan, we get some really cool storms. Some people call them gully washers, and that's what would happen. It happened every year. Every year, the eggs would get washed away. 5 years in a row. And we knew they were incubating. We knew they had eggs up there. There's photographic evidence of it, but it didn't work. In a meeting that I was a part of, bringing the DNR, federal government, University of Michigan, City of Ann Arbor, they showed us photographs of the eggs up against the screen before the water went down. They just washed away. And it was really sad and disturbing to see that, but it was clear it wasn't going to work. So we had to go to Plan B. The good news is that this is where this partnership formed. U of M, the Buildings Department, Museum of Zoology, Michigan DNR, City of Ann Arbor, Washtenaw Audubon Society, and other environmental consultants all got together. The big reason for this to happen was, in fact, they were going to move forward with the renovations now. Remember back in 2006, and we said, oh, don't touch the birds. But it's like, okay, we need to get the renovations going on Burton Tower. So we had to find a different solution. And other locations of maybe where we can put a nest. Mind you, we've never discussed putting a nest anywhere, a nest box up there for them. And it was just unanimous. Everyone said they're always over by the hospital. The hospital is right by the Arb, great hunting. And with the university's blessings, the DNR was able to go ahead and put a nest box on top of the tower. Does anybody remember the nest box being on the top of the towers? Yeah. Awesome. Immediately. The first season. Success. And you can thank Thunderbolt. That's Thunderbolt up there. Thunderbolt was there for 7 years. You can see she has her bands on there. We know it was the same peregrine coming in every year. We had success the very first year. And it seems like we finally got it right. We got peregrines who are going to nest and families are going to leave. It's beautiful. So 4 young chicks were born that year. They would continue to do this every year. They did it last year. And, the big question is, are they going to do it again this year? Time will tell. Talk to me and call me in 30 days and ask me where we are on this. There's one problem with the hospital. It's rather windy up there. And it's not like wind is bad. Birds have to adapt to the wind. But this just had very interesting drafts with that whole campus of buildings and there. Every once in a while, you just get the drafts are stronger than it really is, the wind outside. And the birds were falling out. And when they fell out, they landed in a courtyard. So when the baby robin falls out of the nest, leave it there. Mama's going to take care of it, okay? But when the Peregrine Falcon falls off the hospital and lands in a courtyard, you can't do that. It'll never be able to take flight and get out of the courtyard. The Peregrine Falcon can't just dive down. It was very complex. So they had to rescue these birds, rehab them, and then reintroduce them to Mama some 2 weeks later in there. So kind of have a problem still, but we know we're getting, we're onto something, okay? The nest box is working. They're not going to the bell tower anymore. They found a more suitable habitat. In the works, while we got the nest box up there on the hospital, North Quad is being built. They tore down the old Ann Arbor High School, and they're building this new dormitory over there on State and Huron. And look at the tallest part of this, which is the backside off of State Street. Those little arches up there. Isn't that nice? Nice perch. Well, guess where that North Tower is located? Right next to Burton Memorial Tower. Their favorite hangout. So they became, with the issue going on with the hospital and the problem with the birds falling out, I said, why don't we try putting a nest over in those arches on the new West Quad? Again, the university was all in. They were all in on this one. And it says, we can do that. And the new nest was put there. The Peregrines took to that, and we took the one down from the hospital. It says, you can't use that one anymore. And we really didn't give them a chance to do that. There you go. You have a nest, somebody incubating the eggs there while the other bird is up on Burton Tower, observing, protecting, and searching for food at all times. The most ideal location for the birds and for the university, for all of us. Does everyone know where this is, the quad building? Is there anyone who doesn't know? Just see me afterwards. I'll point it out on my map. I'll show you. If you go to the summer festival, if you don't know this, if you're at the Ann Arbor Summer Festival, and if you haven't looked up on the Burton Memorial Tower, you're missing out on a Peregrine Falcon. They're usually there every evening. There's one resting up there, and the little ones are making all kinds of racket over on the North Quad. Fabulous sight. It makes me very excited to see and hear that. All right, quiz time. Got another prize. Anyone want to take a guess what we're looking at here? Chicks. Okay, so for those of you at home who may not see it, it says Bo Fritz Lloyd Yost. And I expected people to say famous coaches at the University of Michigan. And not one person in this audience said that. They all said names of the chicks. Yes, the first 4 Peregrine Falcons, born and raised in Ann Arbor. The university put out I think it was a Twitter message, name the new birds, because the DNR had just tagged them, and we saw the first photos of them, and everyone was so excited about this, and they said, let's name them. So Bo, Fitz, Lloyd, Yost. And then the next year happened. Yeah, there they are. We came down with, everyone voted Mays, Blue, Howard, Woodson. Anyone? Okay, I know what Mays and Blue is. Howard. Desmond Howard, and we know Woodson as Mr. Charles Woodson. Our 2 Heisman Trophy winners. Is this not appropriate? We had 3 chicks that year, Mary Sue Coleman. So, she led from the top and really helped this whole effort. All these conservation organizations and people involved to make this happen. And we finally got something going on. And I was so pleased when I heard about this. So I go back to that email that she sent. Why would she respond to me? I don't know. She did. So cool. Jim, Chad, Haley, and Ann. Jim. Jim Harbaugh. And Chad, I think we all should know this if you've been in Ann Arbor and haven't been underneath a rock, named after Chad Carr, who was battling his disease at that time. He would die within a year of this event. A nice honor for the Carr family. Okay, this is a tough one. Oh, geez, you guys are too good. Too many Ann Arborites in here, too many U of M alumni in here. Yeah, what does MOJO stand for? Okay, you guys are good. I had to look that one up. This MOJO, I don't know what that is. This year, Victoria, Victors, and Valiant. That was this past year in there. So it's a fun thing to do. It keeps the community engaged, and everyone gets excited when they see the Peregrine Falcons. It continues, and I'm so proud of this effort. Where we came from, the shock and all that I was going through in the first few days of that thing, and then 5 years of failure, of nesting, and then we think we got the answer. This was such a beautiful event that brought the community together, brought people together. This return stands a powerful symbol of what's possible when people work together for conservation, inspiring future efforts to protect, restore wildlife populations across Michigan and beyond. And that's exactly what took place, and I'm so proud of it. Every time I walk by and I hear the Peregrine Falcons or I see them, I'm just moved, and I hope you appreciate them as much as I do, because it's right here in our hometown, and how cool is that? I'll take any questions if you do have them. Yeah, go, oh wait, we're going to get the microphone out there.
Testing.
So
We're going to get the mic and there we go. I'm going to get the YouTube mic in there too.
Okay. Maybe I was sleeping, but where are all the babies now? Did they come back, or do you?
Yeah,
bring
where
them?
are all the babies now? They have been recorded in one of them, the current female in Mount Clemens is from Ann Arbor. They've been recorded down in Ohio. On their own, yeah. Oh yeah, every year. I mean, remember Thunderbolt owned the Ann Arbor location. So, I don't know about the male. I've never heard that it was the same male every year, but peregrines do mate for life as long as they're alive. So yeah, those are the ones that are identified later. And you always hope that you can get a photograph of the numbers down there, but there are definitely documented sightings of the Ann Arbor peregrines successfully nesting elsewhere across the Midwest. Yeah, I think I saw another question over here. Okay, go ahead.
Hi.
I know for Washtenaw Bird Nature Alliance, when we go to Detroit and see Belle Isle in the winter, there's often a peregrine falcon on the hotel that's across the water. And I didn't know if you know the history of that falcon, or if there was a nest box there, if that's part of maybe the re-nesting efforts, and that might also be a question for the three presidents.
So, yeah, the questions around seeing a peregrine falcon on Belle Isle in Detroit. Now, I guess I'm repeating this for our home audience on YouTube. They were part of, they have been established there. I mentioned in the late 80s, conservation efforts where we tried to introduce them to the Detroit area, putting, that has been a huge success. There's peregrines all over Detroit area, and I have seen them frequently on, hanging out on the fishing piers, on the light poles, or if you're lucky, if you're able to see it fast enough. Did you know they fly 240 miles an hour? You can see them down there. So Juliet probably has more information on that.
The Whitney building is where we see them from Belle Isle across the river.
Is it the Whittier building? Or I thought it was the Whittier right there across from Belle Isle.
Could be that, I have the name wrong.
What did you say it was?
I said Whitney, but maybe it's Whittier.
Oh, the Whittier.
It's Whitney. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, Whittier.
Do for Whitney.
Do for Whitney.
I just wanted to tell like a really quick story.
Oh,
Tiffany Ng is the Carillon professor of U of M, and I was attending one of her concerts up on the tower. This is just a couple years ago. You have to wear
it's really
headphones because it's
very loud up
really
there, yes.
loud.
Yeah.
But in the middle of this amazing work that she was premiering up on the Carillon, the Peregrines landed and started screaming their heads off.
Yeah, yeah. So they're
was
there
awesome.
right now.
great.
We could all walk down there this evening, and the odds are pretty good that we can see them. So yes, they're not afraid of that noise at all. Again, which is a fun moment back in 2005.
Tiffany is a member, and we know Tiffany, and she loved that, I'm sure.
She did. I shared the eager checklist with her.
There you go.
Are they eating pigeons? Are they eating squirrels? What are they eating on campus?
Oh, that's such a good question because it's documented. It was for a while. The Museum of Zoology name is Janet Henshaw was collecting them every day, all these body parts. I took my kids there for Ann Arbor Summer Festival, and there was a red-bellied woodpecker head just on the floor, on the ground there. So yes, they're eating everything. If it flies, they'll eat it. And what is so remarkable is there has never, ever, help me out if I'm wrong, been a recorded yellow rail in Ann Arbor or in Washtenaw County.
You're a little bit
Until
wrong
a
there.
peregrine falcon got one. So at the time, there was no record of it. That
yeah.
may have changed.
Yeah.
And the peregrine falcon got a yellow rail. And more interesting also, they do a lot of nighttime flying in the middle of the night. So, birds are migrating, they'll take them down. I don't know how they do that in the dark, but yeah, but really, seriously, a yellow rail? I mean, share the wealth, folks. Us birders would love to have a yellow rail.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention something about yellow rail before, because I've heard that. I know back in Grand Forks, North Dakota, where I'm from, that was one thing that was happening. Is like, I mean, we knew there was yellow rail, but we're like, oh wow, there is yellow rail, because they're like getting it on the regular. And I heard that here, and I've heard that from other areas that they kind of find the yellow rail. But to be fair, was it Ben Lucking that got the yellow rail, the first observation in Washtenaw County?
A couple years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
So, yeah, but after, more later. Yeah, go ahead.
Ray, I don't know how comfortable you feel with doing bird calls, but I was wondering if you could do an impersonation of a peregrine falcon for those who don't know what it sounds
Could I
like.
do an impersonation of a peregrine falcon call? No. Would you like to hear me do a screech owl?
Please do it. You're good at it. I've heard
Yeah,
it.
I can do that, but my lips aren't wet enough to do it. But they're very chatty. Do you know what a bald eagle sounds like? They're close. They just make it. There's my invitation, but yeah. Oh, but it's fine. I'm talking two of them are.
Yeah, that's
That-
Cat, the female. You don't
That
know.
sound, that's the one. Thank you for that question. Ha! All right, easier questions, folks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So for the first 5 unsuccessful years, was that also Thunderbolt?
I'm sorry, is it the
Was
first
the-
5 years?
The first 5 years before successfully nesting at the hospital, was that the same female?
It was always Thunderbolt.
And when did her, I guess, reign over the city end?
I did not hear the question.
When did her reign over the city end?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know the exact date, but.
But it is a new
exact
pair
year, but
now, like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so the first photos that we got, we had the names, the numbers from the IDs, and then it was just, this is the bird.
And has there only ever been a single pair that you know of in the city at one time nesting?
I'd leave that to Juliet, and she's shaking her head, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if another pair showed up.
Yeah, you have more to add?
Occasionally, another pair or individual peregrine will come into the city and they chase it the heck out immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama around, I know back in North Dakota, we would have, who usually comes first? The male comes first, establishes territory, right? So
Correct.
the male would show up, and then the female didn't come, and she normally comes like the same time, and then, oh, where is she? And then another female comes in, oh, maybe we're gonna have a new, and there's all this drama, and then, oh no, here she comes, and kicks her out, and it was in the paper, and they're going through the play-by-play. It's a lot of fun. Anybody else have a question? Oh yeah, that's right here.
Was DDT banned because of the damage it was doing to birds or for other reasons?
It was just bad, but yes,
Like
that
it was
was when
killing
it,
us
when it
too,
was
maybe?
figured out what
Yeah.
the cause of the eggshell. I'm not a scientist. I wasn't involved or a chemist. I know historically, every time I've read about DDT being banned, it was because of how bad it was for the environment and how it got into the food chain.
Right, bad for everything.
So, and then the impact again on those key birds I mentioned
Yeah.
was it made their eggs so thin they couldn't. We were killing the whole species.
And my other question was about the boxes. Like, what makes them so irresistible to the falcon, like, versus making your own nest?
That's a good question.
I think partly we're replicating their, Juliet's
Do you
got
want to answer the
something to say.
question, or do you have another question?
So peregrine falcons do not make a nest in the wild
Yeah.
naturally. They just kind of scrape a little bit on the side of a cliff. But I think the gravel that's in the nest is somewhat enticing for them. And also these raptors tend to want to nest where they were raised. So you might notice that ospreys like to nest on cell towers now, where they used to nest in tree nests and other sorts of lower structures. And so if you raise a peregrine falcon in a nest that's full of gravel and has a box over it, they might like to nest there
They
themselves.
just might like it, yes, exactly. And that's a photo of what the nest looks like.
And to the DDT question, I can tell you as an older person that growing up, I remember when that happened, and I know that they always talked about the effect on the shells of the birds. Maybe there was other reasons, but I know in the zeitgeist that was the talk of the town, so to speak. Other question? There we go. Another one.
Expected lifespan of the falcons, and then I know at Cornell they have the hawk cams. So I think Big Red was kind of like the female, who was up there for years, and you can watch them feed the young and tear apart squirrels, and I don't know if they have any hopes to have some sort of similar monitoring system where people can kind of follow along the life course of the chicks.
So why don't we have cameras on the nest when they're right here? That is about the only area where the university will not cooperate. Nest cameras, who's going to fund it? Whose bandwidth are you going to use? Not ours. No, who's going to, the whole situation was there. They did offer up while the North Quad building was being built. We noticed that there was a camera on the bell tower, and we said, is there a chance that we could use that camera just to look? We wanted to use it just so we can inspect and make sure, they're in fact nesting there. And it turned out the camera only went so far, and it's like, so they did give us that option to, use it to inspect, but I've never gotten, and I haven't been trying seriously for 15 years, but it's how cool would it be to have a camera on there, put it on the university website, and let the university promote it. And it's free PR with beyond the camera and the bandwidth is my opinion on it. But if that's as bad as it gets, we're a very lucky community to think that's where they stop. I would love to have a camera on those birds, and I'd watch them all day long.
I've heard.
Tell them the competition with MSU because MSU has a camera on their Peregrine.
Okay, so word is coming in that MSU has a camera on their nest, and so we need to get word up to the top, I guess. You gotta go to the brass again, Ray. You're on. What? No. What? I'm gonna draft an email immediately. Cool. Other questions?
The questions are fabulous. Thank you so much
this is great.
for asking. And
You got something? Let's do it.
I think part of one of the previous questions was, how long do they live? And I don't remember.
it's roughly, if given a normal life, 20 years is a typical lifespan. It could be longer than that, but it's 20 years.
Going once. Yeah! Cheetah. Here you go.
Because of your crucial role bringing it to the brass, did you ever get the opportunity to hold one of the chicks or be there for the banding of them?
Was not allowed.
What?
I was not allowed. DNR and university officials only, and then at most it was 4. And I'll tell you why I wasn't allowed. It's dangerous. It is very dangerous. Those birds will attack, and if you see any pictures of them while they're up on the nests trying to do the banding, they have glasses on, they got helmets on, protection all over the place, because you don't want to be attacked by something coming at you at 240 miles an hour. Asterisk.
Another question. As I'm walking, I'm going to make a reminder that last meeting we talked about Sibley Prairie, and there's this prairie. If you don't know, look it up. They need money. We gave them $1,000, and not to. I'm saying that to say that's not even making a ripple. So they need help. So if you can, please help them out. And here you go.
In the last couple of years, it's been bird flu and other viruses. Does that affect the falcons?
Does that, anyone? Anyone? I'm not the expert on that. Yeah, Juliet, do you have any thoughts on that?
So our peregrine falcons haven't been affected by it, but other large raptors have been, and they could be. If they grab a duck that's infected and feed it to their young, then they could perish. And we've had many nest failures of bald eagles because of bringing a sick waterfowl to the nest.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
For those of you who are new around here and haven't picked up yet, Juliet, in addition to being past president, is the city ornithologist and resident. Ask Juliet if you have a question about birds and nobody else knows the answer.
You know, I get those questions, you see me, I just look right over to
If
Juliet.
you're new around here, this is how it goes.
Help me out, Juliet.
That's Juliet. Other questions that Juliet can answer for us? Please. No? Okay, cool. Well, Ray, thank you. This was awesome. Thank you very much. Let's give Ray a big hand. Hope to see you all out at a future event. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Appreciate it.